Okay, if you're tired of waiting for a new third-person shooter hack-and-slash game, Saber Interactive and publisher Focus Entertainment have you covered with the long-awaited sequel to 2011 heavy hitter Warhammer 40,000 Space Marine. Space Marine 2 looks broader in scale and scope than its predecessor, with a monolithic task to eliminate an invasive threat in store for returning Ultramarine Dimitri and Titus. There are numerous differences between 2011's original and 2024's upcoming effort, so get yourself locked in for 15 of the biggest before pulling the trigger on that pre-order. New environments. Space Marine took place in the Forge Worlds, immense foundries stretching beyond the horizon. The sequel is set 100 years after the events of the first game. Warhammer 40,000 Space Marine 2 transports Titus and his crew to planet-wide metropolis Avarax and the claustrophobic jungle world of Kadaku.
Titus has returned to the Ultramarines.
You're a lieutenant now.
Where he is demoted to lieutenant.
Will that be a problem?
Swarm technology. As Ultramarine Lieutenant Dimitri and Titus gazes over Space Marine 2's crumbled battlegrounds, he'll witness colossal swarms of winged tyrannids dominating the sky, swirling in number significant enough to block sunlight like factory smog. Well, thanks to Saber Interactive's unique swarm technology, we've learned that these enemies are rendered on screen in real time. Waves of enemies will swoop in on Titus and his battle brothers, their odds of survival slim given the endlessness of aerial threats swirling overhead. New combat mechanic, parrying. Combat in Warhammer 40,000 Space Marine 2 feels weighty, brutal, and satisfying, much like the original 2011 iteration. Underscoring the extreme power you'll sense through your controller is a new addition to combat, parrying. Rewarding well-timed blocks with staggered enemies and fierce executions, the parrying system here is lifted straight out of other modern games, and it's sure to provide and prove a welcome extra to the franchise's already ruthless fighting formula. New enemy, Tyrannids. Those swarming enemies are the Tyrannids, and their invasion must be repelled at all costs. Their ability to strip planets down to their bare resources demonstrates fearsome organization. Their form varies in size and utility, keeping Titus and his men on their toes. The weaker Hormagons storm their opponents in hordes, seeking to overwhelm in sheer number. At the other end of the spectrum, the armor-clad Carnifex are strong enough to rip tanks apart, whereas the gigantic Hive Tyrants wield bone swords larger than the 10-foot Space Marines. Co-op included at launch. Warhammer 40,000 Space Marine 2 features an intense campaign that can be played solo or cooperatively in squads of 3, with up to 2 friends playing drop-in, drop-out seamlessly, alongside Titus as his battle brothers Carrion and Gadriel. Unlike 2011 Space Marine, which added cooperative play via subsequent DLC, co-op will be included in Space Marine 2 at launch. One extra thing to note, co-op play in Space Marine 2 is online only at launch, so no couch co-op at this stage. Operations Mode Overview. Beyond the story campaign is Space Marine 2's Operations Mode, a mode whereby missions can be undertaken cooperatively in 3-player PvE. Lead game designer at Saber Interactive, Dmitry Grigorenko, has gone on record stating that the idea behind Operations Mode was to support the scale of Space Marine 2's intergalactic warfare. Forces are deployed everywhere beyond the battles Titus and his crew are waging. Operations Mode's replayability is supported by an element of procedural generation, ensuring versatility and an emphasis on teamwork. Operations Mode replaces Space Marine's Exterminatus. Operations Mode 3-player potential isn't a bolted-on requirement. Unlike Space Marine's PvE game mode Exterminatus, Operations Mode can be completed solo, whereas its prior incarnation was deemed nearly impossible without squad mates. Plus, Exterminatus was an arena-based experience for up to 4 players, whereas Operations Mode takes the form of missions with objectives, which on paper sounds a more fulfilling enterprise. Operations Mode maps. 2 missions made up Space Marine's Exterminatus, whilst 6 assignments comprise Operations Mode at launch, meaning there are 6 maps to get to grips with, each with different objectives, priorities, enemy presence, and risk factors. Now, we don't know the composites of each individual map at this stage, but there are glimpses of mission number 2, Decapitation, in publisher Focus Entertainment's official gameplay overview trailer. Here, a swarm of Tyrannids threaten a bridge area of Metropolis Avarax, with Hive Tyrants needing slaying and the bridge in question demolishing. Character classes. 6 PvE maps might not seem enough to warrant Saber Interactive's claim of endless replayability, so whilst more will likely be added via free updates, to really maximize Space Marine 2's replay value at launch, there are 6 specialist character classes to explore and refine. 2011 Space Marine featured 3 classes, so we've doubled what we had before. Tactical airborne shock troops, precision specialist snipers, shield-bearing bulwarks, tank-like heavies, and in-your-face assault soldiers comprise the 6 classes, with loadouts customizable via perks and cosmetics. Character customization. Space Marine's customizer included extensive armor customization functions to dramatically alter the look and feel of your soldier. Parts of your soldier's armory can be swapped and changed with paint jobs to enforce your individuality. Space Marine 2 looks to be continuing in this feature with helmets, pauldrons, chest plates, plus a raft of other armor pieces to be swapped, repainted, and decorated to your heart's content, no matter your chosen character class. Earning XP for every successful mission translates to currency that can be spent in your battle barge's armory, anything from further cosmetics to class perks and skills that'll improve your performance. Perks. Warhammer 40,000 Space Marine 2 launches with 25 perks to upgrade your class and shape your playstyle. Like the original Space Marine, perks will provide weapon upgrades, but whilst previously completing weapon-specific challenges, slaying 50 foes with a certain gun, for instance, would unlock said perks, Space Marine 2 actually uses acquired armory data to provide weapon upgrades. The pledge to shape your playstyle hints at class-specific perks too, much like 2011's version. In the original game, we had 48 such class and weapons perks to equip, so these regular free updates touted by Saber Interactive may include more perks along the way. Eternal War Mode Overview. Eternal War is Space Marine 2's competitive PvP mode, where heated 6v6 matchups can be fought via 3 different match types. Space Marine was originally 8v8 via 2 match types, so whilst it'll be less players competing in a single match, in Space Marine 2, we have an extra game mode to get to grips with. Returning are Annihilation and Seize Ground, respectively, a classic wipe your opponent's team out to accumulate points, and a shifting zone control match where the contested ground is constantly moving. Eternal War New Match Type. New to Eternal War is Capture and Control, a capture the flag type match where 3 specific zones must be seized and defended by your team. It doesn't sound like the most novel of multiplayer game modes, but let's wait and see if the carnage promised in the game's campaign translates well to this mode before deciding its worth. Campaign length. According to How Long to Beat, Space Marine's campaign took on average 7.5 hours to complete, with completionists looking to pump 21 hours into the game to unlock everything. Warhammer 40,000 Space Marine 2 is set to provide double the campaign length, with Saber Interactive stating officially a 10 to 12 hour campaign. Of course, this number will vary depending on your chosen difficulty and playstyle. New weapons. Space Marine 2's playable preview features weapons already established in the franchise: the bolt rifle, auto bolt rifle, heavy bolter, bolt carbine, and likely the melt-a-gun. Observe gameplay trailers and we'll see other returning favorites including the plasma incinerator and iconic chainsword. Some new weapons do appear in the game's trailer though. The bolt sniper rifle combines bolter tech with long-range precision and power, and the stalker bolt rifle, which is a slower firing but armor-penetrating version of the bolt rifle. With Space Marine 2's new parrying mechanic, we can probably expect an abundance of new weapons as well. Some have already been spotted, such as the Storm Shield equipped with force field generators to repel ranged and melee attacks, plus swing a few vicious hooks itself. So, what are your thoughts on this? Go ahead and share them in the comments below. And if you like this video, please subscribe to the channel and enable all notifications by clicking the bell icon to get new video updates. We upload every day and would really appreciate your support. Thanks for watching.